You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. I often say, not often, every time we talk about Pro Football Focus, I say, Muse, indulge me, please. Indulge me. I know you don't like when I do this. What do I always say about Pro Football Focus?
It is a metric, not the metric.
Thank you, Muse. I appreciate you very much. It is something to consider. The reason I always give that caveat is the circumstance that we present today. I like to go through Pro Football Focus. I like to go through their grades. It's very thorough. It gives you a sense of what people who seem to know what they're looking at when they watch film, what they are seeing, and it's very thorough. Like, for example, I can look at a player, let's say an offensive lineman, and I can get their overall grade. I can get their run blocking grade, their pass blocking grade, how many penalties they had, their snap count, how many plays they pass blocked, how many plays they rush blocked, how many pressures they allowed. There's a lot of that stuff. It's so detailed and thorough. Well, I'm looking at LSU from the Arkansas game, and if you look at the starters, the two lowest graded players among the starters, the lowest graded player was Ori Williams, but he only played 4 snaps. The two lowest graded players among the starters, these are the ones with little stars next if you're watching. DJ Chester was the lowest graded LSU offensive player, and the second lowest graded player was Emory Jones. Of course, Emory Jones has been awesome for LSU, a 3-year starter. Pro Football Focus graded Emory a 51.9. His run blocking grade was a 60. His pass blocking grade was a 59.1. He did, unfortunately, have the run blocking grade was a 52. The pass blocking grade was a 62.4. He did have the holding penalty, which certainly dinged him. I say that because today, the SEC on Monday gave out their weekly awards. And this week's SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, Emory Jones. A big round of applause, everybody. Your second lowest graded player, according to Pro Football Focus, from LSU this weekend, happened to be the best offensive lineman in the entire league, according to the league. So, again, take it for what it's worth. It's just a thing that we consider. But I do think we can look at some things from Pro Football Focus this week, and it does confirm a lot of what our intuition and some of the things we've talked about we know. For example, the highest graded offensive player for LSU this week was C.J. Daniels. And I know he is not flashy, but he catches everything. He's their best blocker. Every coach will tell you. They love having him on the field. I've given you the snap counts week after week. Like the most glaring example was that game against South Carolina where you were down 17. You ran 79 offensive plays. C.J. Daniels was on the field for 74 of them. The next closest wide receiver was Kyron Lacey with 61. They want him on the field every play. He's a security blanket for Nuss. He catches everything. He knows the route tree. He can run block. He can pass block. He's a fantastic player. And he was your highest graded offensive player. The next two, Will Campbell, Garrett Dellinger. Will Campbell had a run block grade of 80 and a pass block grade of 73.6. By the way, Garrett Dellinger's pass block grade was 83.6. The only player with a higher pass block grade was Miles Frazier. So we keep looking at LSU, and we look at this offensive line, and you continue to see this over and over again, which are elite pass blocking scores. LSU, through 7 games, has allowed 2 sacks. Now, part of that is Garrett Nussmeier is very good in the pocket. He can move. He can avoid pressure. He steps up. He's like a Tetris piece in the pocket. Great awareness, and he gets rid of the ball. There was one play in the first half where Campbell got beat by Landon Jackson, and Jackson was a step slow. Nuss got the ball off, and within a step, Landon Jackson hit him from behind. So it was a quarterback hit that Campbell gave up, but again, the ball got out. He held up long enough. A couple of other things that I found really interesting. Kaden Durham. After Daniels, Campbell, Dellinger, Durham was your next highest rated offensive player. And actually, the only reason he wasn't higher is because his pass block grade was an 18.5. Like, if you're looking at the Pro Football Focus chart, there's like blue, which is excellent, like dark green, which is really good, light green, and then yellow, like yellow to orange to red as it continues to decline on the scale. So red is like terrible. So like you could look, Paul, you could pull this up. Like you could look at the chart. This is like every offensive player's grade from the game. There's like one red dot on the screen. You can find it. The one red dot is Kaden Durham's pass blocking grade. So anyway, but the good news is he ain't on the field to pass block. But all that to say, even if you, aside from the pass blocking grade, he was still your fourth highest rated offensive player. He's been outstanding. With the ball in his hand, his ability to make guys miss, to break tackles, the 22-yard touchdown run on the opening possession, which essentially wiped out the impact of two penalties, which took a touchdown off the board. Sad for Mason Taylor in that respect.
Mason Taylor!
And then the subsequent penalty after that, the false start, which moves you back. But I thought Kaden Durham was really good. Most of the notables, though, here from the PFF grades are on the defensive side of the ball. And it should come as absolutely no surprise to anybody that the highest rated starter among the defensive players was Whit Weeks. And, I mean, this play is the one where it was the point in the game where it felt the worst. Not that there were many bad feelings in this game, but it was the point in the game where it felt the worst. LSU had dominated this football game. Every way. Time of possession, the yardstick, all of it. They scored on every possession of the first half, except the one where they ran out the clock at the end of the first half. And despite that, you're in a one-score game, and you punt on your first possession of the second half. And you punt because penalties were your undoing again. And on the first play of that drive, where, despite, again, LSU's dominating the game, yet Arkansas has the ball with 5 minutes to play in the third quarter and a chance to go take the lead. And you're like, this is just, this is this stupid game. This is what happens in this game. And then Whit Weeks called game.
First down and 10. Arkansas will start scrimmaging from their own 14-yard line. Taylon Green, quick fire, deflected in the air. Whit Weeks has it. Whit Weeks on the tip drill with the INT. Stumbles forward. He's down at the Arkansas 3-yard line.
And the next play, Kaden Durham would run it in for the touchdown. LSU, at that point, got the 2-point conversion to Trey Green. Ball game was over. It's 24-10, and they just piled on 10 more points from there, and that was it. Whit Weeks essentially punctuated the game right there, and no surprise at all that Whit Weeks was your highest-rated player on Pro Football Focus. But the other thing that's so incredible here is your next highest-rated starter was Sage Ryan. And I think it just continues to underscore what I believe is confirmation of what Brian Kelly said after that South Alabama game, where he talked openly, where he said, we've been rolling guys in and out. He said, the time for rolling is done. We're going to look at film, and we're going to decide who our guys are and take 10 days to get ready for Ole Miss. And they've done that. Sage Ryan played 44 defensive snaps. He was your second highest rated defensive player at 76.4 after only Whit Weeks. And you continue to see this now. Zy Alexander, who wasn't available for you in the opener against USC because he was still coming back from the knee injury. Zy Alexander wasn't targeted in this game. They did not throw the ball to his side once in the entire game. I'm not telling you Zy Alexander is Derek Stingley. But what I'm telling you is they're looking at him and going, he's really good. We think we can make hay on the other side with Stamps. Let's go after him. So Stamps was targeted 4 times. And Stamps did give up the touchdown on that miscommunication where he bid on Taylon Green's fake. But again, Weeks played 46 defensive snaps. By the way, they only ran 51 plays, which is comical in and of itself. And you made wholesale changes late in the ballgame. But Weeks played 41 snaps. Sage Ryan played 44. Zy Alexander played 46. Jordan Gilbert played 46. Major Burns played 42. Ashton Stamps played 46. Remember what Brian Kelly said. The days for rolling guys in is done. We got to commit to our guys. Well, you have now. You know who your guys are. It's Zy and Stamps, and they're playing corner every single snap. Major Burns is your star every single snap. Gilbert and Sage Ryan are your safeties every single snap. Now, Sage went out with an injury. He was replaced by Kylan Jackson. Excuse me. He was replaced by Kylan Jackson. So we know what that next rotation is, like who's next up, but you know who your guys are. And remember, Brian Kelly said early in the season, we don't have anybody we feel like can play 60 snaps. They've thrown that out the window. Clearly, they've identified who the guys are they can trust, who can function within this defense. Blake Baker and the staff have identified who their best guys are and what positions they're best, and you're starting to see it manifest in great defensive results. A lot of people have thrown this out, but I'll say it again. The second half of Ole Miss, overtime in the entire Arkansas game, that's 6 quarters and an overtime period against 2 of the better offenses in the league, and you've allowed 1 touchdown. This defense is outperforming its talent level. You don't have All-Americans, except maybe for Whit Weeks. You don't have first-round draft picks, except for maybe Whit Weeks, on this defense. And they're outperforming their talent because they're executing what their coach is calling. Blake Baker put on a clinic against Bobby Petrino. Blake Baker spanked Bobby Petrino on Saturday night. It was fun to watch. And because that defense is playing the way it is right now, they're playing complementary football that will give you an offense chance to go win any game they play. I'm not saying they're going to win out. I'm not saying they're winning a championship. I'm saying when your defense is playing that way, they give you a chance to beat any team you play. That was not the case a year ago. Clearly, that was not the case a year ago. And it's illustrated here in some of these PFF grades. If you're looking at the bottom, Greg Penn, Ashton Stamps, Gio Paez were among the bottom-rated players, the starters. But even still, man, you're getting a lot of productivity out of these guys. And your stars are playing like stars. Whit Weeks, Zy Alexander, your best players are playing the best. Braden Swinson was the 3rd highest-rated starter. Even though he didn't have a sack, he impacted the game in a lot of ways. He pressured one side of the football. Boy, it's impressive to watch just how quickly Blake Baker has made this defense from literally the worst defense in the history of the program to one that gives you a chance to win any game you play. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.